All right, here's Sean's first run. I'm going to play it through. Okay, so 15-second run, not bad. A couple of things to point out here. In the beginning, let's play this part here. So in the beginning, you see he doesn't take a step at all until his gun is completely out and he has his grip, and then he starts moving. So what we'd like to see is on the beep, a couple of big aggressive steps, or at least a big aggressive step as you're drawing, then get on this target, because you need to make up all this distance to the double barrel stack to get those tight targets in there. So you might as well be moving as soon as the beep goes off. So that once he gets going, he does shoot all these on the move, which is good. Something else to point out is transition here, about 8/10. We'd like to see this transition from the steel to this first paper be closer to a 50. So there's some time to be gained there on calling the shot on the steel and immediately transitioning to the paper. Also, with his movement, he's very stiff, very upright. His knees aren't very bent, and he sort of moves pretty deliberately, but he's not in what I would call an athletic sort of aggressive movement posture there. And a stage plan thing here. I actually don't mind shooting here these targets through the barrels on the move. It's a pretty aggressive plan because you can get them from somewhere else closer later on, but it could have worked out. Obviously, you'll see here he engages these targets in the wrong order. You can see how it would be obviously better to go on the right one first, shooting the left one while you back out. And then the last part is this last piece after here. He's got all this movement from here all the way to the final position where he's not really doing anything, and he's not aggressively moving. He's got the gun up early, which is good. So you see here, he does have the gun up. He's ready to shoot when he arrives, but he's not doing anything here, and he's not moving aggressively. The ideal plan, and you'll see what he does in his second video, is you shoot these guys on the move between this position and the final position. So at least you're doing something during this motion, and you get them from closer than when he engaged them from way back here, shooting them on the move. And then the last part is he shoots this last steel and partial target, which are obviously the hardest shots on the stage, and he shoots them basically on one foot. So he's leaning to the right. Maybe he came up a little short in this last position and he has to lean to kind of look past the barrel, but I don't think so. So you'd want to be planted here, have a better stance, both feet on the ground, a little bend in the knees, and shoot these last targets with what you would want to be your more ideal stance. I would definitely not shoot these on the move, and he didn't. But he's giving up a little bit of stability in his platform by having this foot off the ground here. So, his second run. Oh, phone's ringing. That's the A-team. Hanging out. All right, sorry about that. All right, so here's the second run. Let's play it through. Turn up the volume a little bit. Yep. Okay, start over. So, in the beginning, a little bit better. He does sort of move and step at the beginning, but there's still sort of a reaction here to the beep where he's not kind of exploding out of the box how we'd like. And I'd like to see him be more in sort of a crouched stance, a little bit more knee bend so that he can get going as the beep goes off. So he gets the gun out, he shoots here. Again, this transition from the steel to the paper, again, this is almost an 85, an 84. We'd like this to be about a 50 if you can. And, go from there. So he shoots these on the move good. Comes in here again. Here's something to notice. He does this movement here. It's not that far movement, but he takes his hand off the gun, which for that amount of space, it's sort of an in-between position, whether you should take your hand off the gun and run or keep them together. For that amount of space, I would personally keep both my hands on the gun. But the thing he does here is he shoots these targets in the wrong order. Again, he shoots the left one and then the right one. So ideally he should come in, 2 hands on the gun, be aiming to the left a little bit. I'm sorry, be moving to the left a little bit so he gets an angle on this target, and coming in with his gun already up, ready to shoot that target. Transition to the left, back out, and then do his reload. So at least on this one, he's got the plan right. He does have a little hang up here. I think he said his mag got hung up falling out of the gun doing the load. So he does the load here, shoots these 2 targets, goes to the last position, and again, shoots this last position, the hardest shots on the stage, for some reason, basically on 1 foot. So I'm not sure what that is. Maybe that barrel there is tricking people into sort of leaning to the right as they arrive in that last position. But because his reload took so long, it was completely planted when he shot these targets. So he didn't shoot these targets on the move. So he should have basically planted here and been able to shoot everything from 1 foot position, 1 platform position. Shoot these guys and finish over here. And then again, going back to shooting these targets, if we can break down, that's 23 split here, very good. 50 transition between these 2 targets, which are only a foot apart, and then a 22 split. So shooting very fast, 23 and a 22 split, but his transitions are double that, more than double that with a 50. So that's something we can obviously pick up on. That'd be 3/10 better. Just from this array, he'd be 3/10 ahead. He'd be down under 14 seconds easily if he had his transitions here be a little more on point.